So now analyzing my question, student perspective on AI at Morningside. So we divided in 5 statements, and also the students could answer in 5 different ways, from 1 being strongly disagree to 5 being strongly agree. So the first one, I'm familiar with Morningside AI policy. The student mean was 3.45 and the standard deviation was 1.12. So student mean between neutral to somewhat agree, but the standard deviation 1.12. So this means that a lot of students, the students feel comfortable of being familiar with the Morningside AI policy, but the standard deviation is so big that some students feel very familiar, and probably some of them don't feel that much, or not that confident, not that familiar with it. Now the second one, I would like clear guidelines when it's okay to use AI in classes. This one had the highest mean, that's why I put it in blue, in 3.69, and with the least standard deviation, with 0.91. So this one has the most consensus across the campus. The third one, Morningside is training me to be proficient using AI tools. 2.76, so this one between neutral and somewhat disagree, and also with a big standard deviation with 1.03. The fourth one, students are using AI tools ethically. This one had the lowest student mean with just 2.74 and a standard deviation with of 1. So many are still unsure, and options are very widely. Now the last one, it is hard to know what qualifies as cheating when it comes to use of AI. This one, the student mean had 3.26. So between neutral, closer to neutral than somewhat agree, but still above the neutral spot, and the standard deviation of 1.04. So students still say it's confusing, and the standard deviation is still pretty high. Now analyzing gender. Male is in the first column, female in the second column, and the differences. So when there is a color, it shows there is a difference between the male and the female. So for the first one, being familiar with the Morningside AI policy, the males had 3.22, while the females had 3.68, so a difference of 0.46, and the p-value of 0.001. So there is a significant difference between them. The females seem to be much more familiar with the Morningside AI policy than the men. For the second one, when in clear guidelines, when it's okay to use on class, same. Males 3.56 and females 3.82, so much closer to somewhat, both of them closer to somewhat agreed than to neutral, but still a difference of 0.26 and a p-value of 0.01, so still there was a significant difference between them. Now for the third, fourth, and fifth, there were no significant difference, and they were matching the student mean. So for Morningside is training me to be proficient using AI tools, both of them below the 3 spot, the neutral spot, 2.72, 2.84. Students are using AI tools ethically, 2.81 to 2.72, so not that much of a difference again. And it is hard to know when qualify as cheating to the use of AI. Those two are above the average, above 3, 3.22 and 3.34. So they're really close. They're both agreeing on that. So the only one that had a significant difference is that more women feel more familiar with the policy and are more strongly wanting clear guidelines to it. Now analyzing it by major. So in this first one is aggregation, business, education, fine arts, humanities, nursing, and science. So for this first question, being familiar with the Morningside policy, aggregation had the lowest one with 3.06 and education with 3.79. So education much closer to somewhat agree compared to agri and aviation with much more closer to the neutral spot. So a difference of more than 0.7 between them. One in clear guidelines, same thing. Aggregation with the lowest one with 3.31, while education had 3.83, humanities 3.89, and nursing 3.87. So those three really want the clear guidelines on when it's okay to use AI on classes. Now going for the third one, Morningside is training me to be proficient using AI tools. Education now had the lowest average with 2.38, so they are much closer to somewhat disagree to neutral. And nursing had 3.04, so nursing had, there's a significant difference between them, and nursing is in a neutral spot, while education is much more closer to the somewhat disagree. Now going for the last two, there are not significant difference between them. Students are using AI tools ethically. Most of them, all the answers between 3 and between neutral and somewhat disagree. And it is hard to what qualifies as cheating when it comes to the use of AI. All of the answers are above the neutral spot, and there is no significant difference between them. So by major, just the first 3 questions, there was a significant difference between some majors compared to the other ones. Now analyzing US versus international and year on school. So there is no significant difference across any of the answers. So I'm familiar with the Morningside AI policy. The US students 3.45, sorry, and the international is 3.28, difference of 0.17, not that big. Same for the second one, 3.69, 3.54, difference of 0.15. So both of them are matched the student mean that was above 3 and close to somewhat agree on them. Now going for Morningside is training me to be proficient using AI tools, 2.76 for US students to 3 going for international. So the international are in the neutral spot, and the US students are somewhat disagree, but still closer to the neutral spot, so there's no significant difference between them. Students are using AI tools ethically. This is almost the same, 2.74 to 2.79. And it is hard to qualify when it comes to cheating in the use of AI. So 3.26 to 3.21, also really close, so no difference between them. Now going to year in school, first, second, third, and fourth year. For the first one, being familiar with the policy, 3.3, 3.55, 3.52, 3.49. So all of the answers between 3.3 and 3.55, so no difference between them. One in clear guidelines, 3.79, 3.57, 67, and 3.76. So also, all of them between 3.5 to 3.8, no difference between, no significant difference between them. Now going for Morningside is training them to be proficient using AI, all of them below the number 3, below the average, below the neutral spot, 2.74, 2.83, 2.68, and 2.78. In this one, all of them also are in consensus. Going for the fourth one, students are using AI tools ethically. All of them also below the 3, below the neutral spot, 2.85, 2.97, 2.57, and 2.43. Now going for the last one, it is hard to qualify as cheating when it comes to the use of AI. All of the answers are above 3, 3.21, 3.27, 3.19, and 3.4. So all the answers between neutral spot and somewhat agree, but closer to the neutral, and no difference between them, between 3.2 to 3.4. So those were the data that I collect with those questions. Thank you.